All right, so I wanted to do this quick reading, or actually message. I'm not even going to call it a reading, just a quick message that has been sitting on my heart for a few days. So I'm like, I'm going to just do it and get around to it. It is early in the day, so I don't expect everyone to be on here, but when you do come on here, be sure to like this video, share it with someone that you feel like it will benefit and bless, encourage, and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Hit the notification. I sound like a YouTuber and I really like despise it right now, but I really do appreciate you guys' support. I put a lot of energy into what I do, and I don't do this for myself. I don't do this for likes and views. I do this to help people, but it does help me. So y'all know how the algorithm is. So I really appreciate y'all. I hope everybody's having a blessed day. So far, you're up, you're awake, you're living. Gratitude is key. I'm really, still grasping that, especially when it's trying. So I want to share this message with you guys. The title might be a little weird. I understand. And I'll get into that. I have my notes as well. So if you guys are not familiar with my channel, I wouldn't call myself a tarot reader or a reader per se, because I'm simply a messenger, if anything, for the most part, as I'm a messenger. So if I talk a lot, that's because I'm delivering a message. I'm not dependent upon cards. So I still can deliver the message outside of the cards. If you're someone that is, a tarot fanatic, you probably won't like my channel. But anyway, long story short, let's hop into the message. So I can't remember what day it was. Probably was Saturday or Sunday. I think it was actually early Saturday morning, like Friday night going into Saturday morning, early Saturday morning. And I had said something silently to myself, like within myself. It was like a silent prayer that I made. And I felt like I got my confirmation, like within hours. Like I said it earlier in the day. And then when I woke up early that morning, I seen something that confirmed what I was asking. So I heard God, Spirit, say to me, you got to lay down what you love. And I'm paraphrasing because when you're like in the spirit, sometimes you're not able to really pinpoint exactly the exact words that you heard when you heard it, but you get the gist of it. So when I was in that space, I heard you, in paraphrasing, you got to lay down what you love at the altar. And y'all know me, the Bible is a place of reference and parables for me. I love it. I love decoding the Bible. I love applying it in ways that, make sense to modern, in like what I'm going through every day, because it really does. And if you break it down and you get the moral of the story, that's how I look at it. The story of Abraham in the Bible, Abraham was the father of many nations. That was his promise from God, was that he was going to have an abundance of offspring and they were going to be rulers of many nations and so on and so forth. Abraham was instructed to lay his son down at the altar as a sacrificial offering from God. And how I took this, some people might be like, oh, that's sick. Why would God say that? I don't look at the Bible like literally, you know what I mean? Moral of the story is laying down what you love so much that you're willing to give up something that you love so much as an offering. And not literally in a sense like you'll give up your kids and stuff like that. That is not what I'm saying, because I would never do that. It's a metaphor of how much do you trust God, Spirit. For those of you that get triggered by the word God, how much do you have trust and faith and spirit? Just like when we have our little ancestor altars and stuff like that, and we go and we give them water and wine, we give them beer, we give them cigars and all this stuff, and fruit and rice, whatever else we give them, right? Those sacrifices, or those offerings rather, is to show reverence to them, right? To thank them for helping you. Same thing with God or spirit, right? When you give up the things, you're sacrificing things of value, but it's a little different than that. Like when we do our ancestor offerings, it's not really us sacrificing anything that we want. And some people, they go to that level where they do some shit, but I'm not talking about that. Excuse my language. I'm not talking about that deep, dark into things. But like when you're offering, you're giving them something, you're showing them reverence, but you're not really sacrificing anything. You're not sacrificing parts of yourself. So during this season, I really do believe that, and this, I'm saying this for a reason, because whoever this is for, whoever this is meant for, sometimes like when you're on the brink of a blessing, you're going to have to give up some things that you don't want to give up. That's what a sacrifice is. It's not always something that we feel comfortable letting go of. And I always think about this picture. It's a picture with a little girl holding on to a little teddy bear. And there's a depiction of Jesus with this big teddy bear behind them. And they're asking her to give up this teddy bear. Me, symbolically, when I see teddy bears and visions or things like that, I think of the inner child. But I also think of comfort. What are teddy bears? Usually they're our comfort, right? When we're little kids, or our blankies, they're comforts, right? We're holding on to these small things. And sometimes giving up what we want doesn't have to be giving up like, oh, I just give up on life, or I give up on this dream. I give up on this promise, or I just give up. And I know that some of you are not willing to do that. It's not an easy thing. And Spirit has been pressing this harder, that for some of you it's love. There's a particular person that you want so badly, or you want something so badly. Are you willing to say to yourself, I'm willing to give this up? Meaning, I'm willing to let go of my control. I'm willing to let go of my fear of holding on to this and being codependent upon this thing or this person, or holding on to the hurt or the pain. I surrender it and I give it to you. What is the purpose of an offering or sacrifice spiritually? So when I talk about like an altar, because that's what I put in the title, laying everything that you love, everything that you desire, your wants and your heart's desires, your dreams, your the things that you've been holding on to. When you lay that at the altar is just a place. It is a spiritual space, place, or essence or energy of something that represents a place of sacrifice. So what happens at this altar space is it draws you towards a spiritual and supernatural strength and power and renewal and rejuvenation. For anybody that has ever sat with themselves and like you just felt like you were low to the ground. I don't know how many of you have actually experienced this, where you get to a low place where you're just like, I'm tired. I can't keep doing this to myself. I can't keep worrying about this. I can't keep stressing. I can't keep pushing myself to do this and do that. You just get tired, right? And you say, F it. I give up. I let go. I surrender. In other words, I surrender. Not like you're giving up on yourself or giving up on life, but you say, I surrender. I'm not going to keep myself nailed and pinned down by the burden. Sometimes the things that we want can become a burden. Sometimes our desires can become so strong that it enslaves us, because you want it so bad, or you want to see it happen so bad. And that is where the point where it's like, you got to let that go. You got to sacrifice it, meaning give it up. So when you sacrifice something, it's usually something that holds importance and value to you. And when you do this, is for, by definition, sacrifice, or one of the definitions, it says to give up something important or valued for the sake of other considerations. In a spiritual sense, sacrifice can mean giving to the Lord, Spirit, God, Source, whatever you want to call the Creator, whatever they require of our time, our earthly possessions, and our energy to further God's plan, God's work over our life. So the purpose of this is sometimes we might want something, right, so badly, and it might not be in the plans or the purpose for our life at that time, or if at all. And when we say like, yeah, I want this thing, and they teach this in law of attraction for those of you are that, this, what I'm talking about is too religious for you or something, I don't know. Let's say hypothetically, the law of attraction teaches you to state what you want, focus on what you want, but from a place of allowance, from a place of detachment, not being overly attached to and obsessing over it, but also being open to other ways that it can come about and manifest itself, or something that is in better alignment. If it's not that specific thing, then something that is in better alignment. Ultimately, truly what you want, right? So whatever it is that you might be required to let go of and give up, whether it's your pain, whether it's your anger, your frustration, your fears, whether it's your desires, your wants, your dreams, where you say, I give it to you, spirit. Not saying that you give up on yourself, but you're surrendering it. There's transformation in that, because what you're saying essentially is that I trust you. And it also shows humility within you. And when I mean humility, it's like you're not in a place where you're trying to control everything. You're not trying to dictate this or dictate that. Because for some of you, you are holding on to things that you're not supposed to hold on to at all anyway. Certain things that you're wanting or asking are not in divine alignment with what's for your highest good. Sometimes we limit ourselves because we're only seeing that one thing. So it's kind of like you look at, I'm going to use shoes as a reference because I'm a shoe lover. I'm a heel lover. You look at a rack full of heels, right? High heels, beautiful shoes. And you're saying to yourself, I want a purple shoe, right? And you go to the store and you see a few purple heels, and that one heel that stands out to you, that one purple heel, it might be beautiful, right? It might be a gorgeous shoe. It might, but it's like, I'm still going to keep shopping around until I find exactly that thing that actually suits me. So you might be trying to fit into a shoe that, let's say for instance, is a beautiful heel, but the height is all wrong, or you try it on and you already know that your feet is going to be hurting, but because it's the only purple shoe and you want a purple shoe, you'll just take that purple shoe knowing that it's not fitting for you. That's kind of how we are sometimes with our desires with things. We want something specific in our heart, but then we'll see something that might look close to it or kind of suits the, hey sis, hey Gabby, hey my sis from St. Lou, hey. You'll see something that kind of fits that, but it's not it. Rather than saying to yourself, okay, I'm going to keep that shoe in mind, maybe, but I'm going to take into consideration that it might not be fitting. So I'm going to be open. And being open will lead you to where you're supposed to be. If you're so restricted and it has to be, and it has to be that, and it has to go this way, sometimes the specifics could be that spirit does tell you, hey, that house is yours. That specific house is yours. You don't need to look any further. But maybe you're so dead set on when you need to move there, or how does it have to happen in order to move into this house, rather than allowing things to unfold. And when I say that, I'm not saying that you should just be dead weight and not do anything, because faith without works is dead. But when you're divinely guided to certain things, you're allowing spirit to work things out. You're allowing key players and divine helpers to also take place as well. You're not trying to control it, and you're alleviating the stress of trying to put all the pieces together by yourself. Supernatural things, it don't work like that. Supernatural things work outside of the human mind, outside of the human's conception of time. So if you're seeking something to manifest into your life, to come about, it's not going to happen through you digging your feet in the ground and trying to make it happen. That's not how it works. And do you really truly have faith, and do you really believe that you are deserving of more? And for some of you, you are being called to let go of things that are not and were never for you in the beginning. And the reason why you're having such a hard time with something coming to pass is because it's not for you. And you may not be taking heed. You may not be paying attention to what your insight or your intuition is telling you, what spirit is showing you, because you want what you want. Your flesh, you might have to give up some things within yourself Admit to yourself why you want this. Maybe it's something behind it. Maybe it's a fear. Maybe you're afraid. Maybe it's you want to stunt on people. Like, you got to be honest with yourself. You got to lay everything out at the altar, the good things and also the things within you that need to be let go of, that may not be healthy, right? And that in itself is, again, humility, it's integrity, it's courageous, it's brave to say to yourself, yeah, there's some stuff about me that I'm not too proud of, I don't really like. And the thing is with this is, like, when you're in that space, God's not judging you. Spirit's not judging you. Source, creator is not judging you. And I always say this, like, when I'm helping people, the more transparent you are, the more honest you are, the more better I can help you. I can assist you. I can see what's going on. Same thing with God. God knows each and every one of our hearts. Our creator knows us, right? Inch by inch. So whatever it is that's in your heart and in your mind, even if it's some ugly stuff or some bad traits that you got, you're not going to be judged for that per se. You're being vulnerable. It helps to be better. It helps you to be helped when you say, I'm just going to lay it all out. I want this person so badly, Spirit. I don't know. Or I want this job so badly. Or I want this. Or my health is not where I want it to be. Whatever it is. I'm not happy. I'm frustrated. I'm mad. Why is this happening? Like, the more transparent, the more honest you are, the better you're able to help and be freed of whatever is burdening you. Whatever is causing you confusion, Spirit. I'm tired of being confused about this. Show me. I'm frustrated. I'm mad. I feel like this. I feel like that. When you're able to sacrifice and give up and let those things go, transformation takes place. Spirit keeps showing me things like with people being weighed down by cords and ties to things, and or like a rock. You know how some pictures you'll see like a person's foot being chained down by a big rock and they're trying to walk forward and that rock is weighing them down. That's what I'm seeing, like, spiritually for some of you. Like, you can become imprisoned and enslaved by your own thoughts, by your own desires sometimes, by what people have said about you, what you've experienced. Until you lay all that out on the altar and say, I'm giving this up, I don't want to hold this anymore, it's going to stay there until you let it go. And a lot of you guys, and I don't know who this is for, but I'm not saying this to like come down on anybody, be judgmental, be too preachy. I'm saying this out of the kindness of my heart to help somebody. Some of you deal with pride. You're very stubborn and you don't take criticism. You don't take correction well. You're very prideful, and that's what's keeping you stuck. And I'm speaking from a place of experience because I dealt with that, where I wanted the help, but when it came to how it was being received, I would get offended easily. And I didn't know how to take loving criticism. I didn't know how to take wise counsel fully to the extent, because I felt, and when I say stubborn and pride, it could also look like you feeling helpless and being like, oh, I'll never be helped. You keep speaking death over yourself. Like, oh, I can't. Well, I'm just too effed up. Oh, it's never going to happen. Oh, it's not going to work. Oh, well, forget it. That's also a spirit of stubbornness as well, mixed in with a little bit of despair and hopelessness. But because sometimes we can feel shamed. Like, some of us might be the do-it-all, like you do it all for yourself. You're used to taking care of everything on your own for yourself. You don't really ask for help. And when it comes down to the vulnerability, to you, that might be like, I look weak right now. I sound weak. People are used to me being the independent person, the independent woman, independent man. I do everything by myself. I don't need anybody's help. When I'm going through something, I keep it to myself. I don't tell everybody about it. I'm the helper, right? And that in that inner thing, that can also be a pride thing as well, because that fear of looking weak or looking vulnerable keeps you stuck and restricted from fully freeing yourself, because you have to admit to yourself the inner parts that you struggle with, the inner parts of yourself that you don't like, the inner parts of yourself where you fear things, where you need help, where you need correction. When you're transparent and honest with yourself and and with spirit, with God, creator, source, there's a breakthrough in that. There's a breakthrough in that. So this, I feel like for some of you, like you'll hear it, you'll take it in. For some of you, you'll hear it and you'll be like, F this, I don't want to hear this, or this is stupid, oh, this isn't for me, or oh, this is too preachy, and you'll discard it. And for some of you, you'll take it because it's the time that you need to hear it, right? Like you might have heard it in different ways from somewhere else. You may know this within yourself to be true. Like you'll meet a message at the time that you're meant to meet it. And for some, they'll reject their messages. It happens, right? Or maybe it'll come at a later time. It might hit differently or come from another source that's more in resonance with where they are. But what I say, I know that this is not like, it's not a light and fluffy message. It's not. It's not a tarot card message where you could see, oh, you got to see the tower card, or you got to see the death card to know that, oh, this message is real. Like you got to see it to believe it. Faith does not work that way. You can't be lenient or lean upon cards and me or someone else telling you. It has to get to a certain point where you have that faith and that relationship with spirit on your own. And I'm going to say this too. This is just like a little side note. Like the tarot community is like, it's a joke now. Like you might be able to find some real messages and stuff out there like that. But for the most part, tarot has become like this entertainment joke. It's like, it's really bad. Or people just leaning on it to be their full source of guidance and information. And that's not healthy. It's really not. Where you're leaning upon another person or you're leaning on a deck to tell you your future or what you should be doing. That's not healthy. But yeah. So that's why I don't really, like when I come on here and I deliver messages, you guys rarely see me use my cards. That's because they're just a tool. I don't need them. Spirit can speak to you. Spirit can speak to me through you, through me, outside of tools. So I don't ever want to be leaning, like just leaning on that. And I'm not going to be one of those messages that tickle your ears. That's not what I'm here for. That's never what I was here for. So if I say certain things that offend people, that is not my intention. My intention is to help. And I know that sometimes help, you have to hear it straight with no chaser. You know what I mean? No chaser, no juice, no sugar on the rim. Just straight up. This time right now, Spirit keeps telling me this. This message keeps coming out, like y'all being prepped for something, and you've been praying and you've been asking for certain things, and the right thing that's coming for you or coming to you or that you're stepping forth into, you don't want to block yourself because you're still holding on to dead weight, or you're holding on to certain aspects and ways of yourself that you should have given up a long time ago. You should have released a long time ago. Made peace with certain things or people. You don't want that rock attached to your ankles to where you can't move forward. You don't want those strings attached on your back, those cords and those soul ties. Sometimes some of the things like these people that you be wanting and stuff like that, you got to make sure, like, check, is this a soul tie? Is it, I'm in love with the idea of this thing or this person? Is it something that I feel like is going to fulfill a void in me? Is it going to give me some sort of validation? This job or this career? Could it be that it's not time yet? Am I really ready to step forth in that? Am I ready for the responsibility that comes with being a CEO? Or am I ready for the responsibility that comes with owning a home? Am I ready for the responsibility of becoming a wife or a husband or having children? Am I ready for these things? You got to be honest with yourself. Because a lot of times the process of patience and the waiting process, the waiting room, is for your protection. And the waiting room also could represent, are you ready to get on the operation table and have whatever needs to be removed out of the inner parts of you, your heart and your mind? Are you ready to cut off the attachments, the tumors off of your body? These things or these people or whatever energies that are connected to you that are sicknesses, that are tumors. And as what I mean, metaphorically. In other words, not for your highest good. Are you ready to go into the operation room and remove all of that? Because that could be the process of why you're waiting, is because you haven't stepped into that place and say, yeah, I'm ready to get this removed off of me and out of me. We can be our own block sometimes. It's not always about what somebody else did to you. And even if somebody hurt you, you've gone through those experiences. It gets to a point where you acknowledge the pain, but you get yourself out of the victim and you become your own hero and you free yourself from that. You don't become restricted because this person R-word you, or M-word you, or abuse you in different ways, or someone cheated on you, or you're mad at the person at the grocery store that stepped on your foot and didn't say sorry and kept going, and you just hang on to that. Now I hate all people, or I hate all women, I hate all men, or all black people are bad, or all white people are bad, or this. You hang on to these things, these in your mind. You don't let it go. You're holding your own self back. You're causing sickness in your own spirit, in your own body. It may not sound good hearing it from my mouth. Maybe it sounds better coming out of somebody else's mouth. Someone that has more subscribers, more views or something, or your mama or something. I don't know. Because some adults, we don't want to hear it. But I really have to be honest, and I have to say this again. I don't know who this is for, because I see like this a loop. I see a loop with people where they're still stuck. And I think to myself sometimes, I'm like, am I not speaking clearly, like in a way where like you don't see what I'm saying? Like, this is not for you. And I wonder, like, are people hearing what they want to hear? They're picking and choosing what they're listening to that's coming out of my mouth. Because I keep saying like, okay, this isn't for you. This person is doing this, they're doing that. This person's not ready. Spirit is telling you to do this. And I'm looking and I'm like, why are they still talking? Why are they still asking me about this? I don't understand. Sometimes the situation has not really changed. And I'm like, why? And the only thing that I can come into understanding, because I did this too. Like, I'll ask about something. The situation has not changed. The person has not changed. They're not doing anything different. But I'm still asking about it. And it's like, Chenoa, until you cut free out of that, you're going to keep repeating the same cycle until you get it. Sometimes it's going to manifest through another situation. But the only explanation that I have for that is one is not ready to acknowledge or cut that tie off, or there is an extensive soul tie on someone. It's thick. It's a thick cord, especially if you have sex and you're constantly laying down with that person. That's also thickening the cords and the ties to a person. Not to mention whatever spirits they have on them. When you lay down with someone, you're marrying your spirit, your essence with that person. You're yoking yourselves together. So whatever they got going on in the inner parts of them, and whatever you got going on in the inner parts of you, it's like you're coming into agreement with that, and you share those same energies and essences, and you may not understand why. You could be depressed one morning and not know why. And that's why some people, they form these attachments and they glamorize them, they romanticize them. Oh, we woke up at the same time, he called me when I was thinking about him. Y'all got cords. Sometimes it's not always a divine connection. You can have a divine connection with your children. You can have a divine connection with your parents, with your best friend. You guys can think about the same things at the same time, think to call each other at the same time. You can sense when your child is in need, when your child is thinking about you. It's that type of instinctual connect. But also with soul ties, when you yoke yourself with somebody, and also the power of the mind, even if you haven't slept with the person, the power of your mind is so driven and drilled into that person's, your thoughts go there. You start attaching yourself to this person's energy. So we think like, oh, I can't stop thinking about them, or I keep feeling, every time I think about this person, I see this and I see that. Sometimes that is a clear indicator that this is a soul tie there. If you don't have a healthy connection with this person 90% of the time, because no connection is perfect, but if 50% is positive and 50% is negative, it's like it's not balanced. It's off. Or if you have an 80% okay relationship and then the other 20 is good, then that's not healthy either. So you got to be honest with yourself. Are you desiring something that is, and I feel like it's love, because it's easier to be like with other things that we desire. We can obsess over our living situations. We can obsess over our financial situations. Yes. But when it comes to love, and because the heart is a powerful, like the essence of love is a powerful energy and source. The heart is powerful, but it also can be deceptive. Our emotions can deceive us sometimes. It can battle with reason and logic sometimes, right? So that's where most of us struggle. That's where most of us have had struggles or currently are in war or battle with our hearts, with the things that we desire and want when it comes to love. That's why love is such a sensitive topic. That's why it's such a popular topic. It's why it's such an importance to people. Not just romantic love, but love of family, friends, what your peers feel about you, your connection with them, your connections with the lover. That's why people ask about that all the time, because it's a powerful energy and source. So a lot of people put a value. Most humans, we put value on love, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes when we're not sane we're not sound, I should say, in our mind and our thoughts, we let our heart rule our emotions. We don't think twice to assess and say, okay, why do I want this person? Why can't I stop thinking about this person? Why do I feel like I need this, or this person is doing this and that to me? Because I can't logically make it make sense when, where I'm seeing certain patterns or seeing things that a person is doing to another person, and why this other person that's going through all of this is still wanting it to be that person. I can't. And I go back and I think about my own situations and I say to myself, I was heavily insecure. I just wanted somebody, or I wanted it to work with someone because we had a child, or because I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to see them with someone else. I didn't think I was worthy of having anything else outside of that. I was scared to let it go, so on and so forth. Being transparent and honest. Other situations, because I feel like we have a really cool connection. And what if I don't find anything like this again? Or what if this person, blah, blah, blah. You got to be honest and assess what's going on inside of you. And it doesn't always have to be like the outcome is that, yeah, you're just insecure and you just want somebody. Sometimes it literally is you had a good moment. There was a moment in time that you had where you felt something you never felt with the person, or you had an exchange that was super, it was spiritual, it was divine, right? But then every other experience you have after that, it never quite went back to that. So you're questioning, I thought that this was that, I thought this was real, and you're trying to make it make sense, right? But you don't want to get caught up in a loop. And I haven't experienced fully yet what it's like to have a divine partner, because I haven't reached that part of my journey fully yet. I know what it's like to have connections with people. I know what it's like to have toxic ones and divine connections, whether they're seasonal, whether they're meant to be markers in my life and my journey. I can, speak on that. But one thing that I can say is that the more and more you choose yourself over the things or the people that you feel like you want or that you need in your life, the more and more you do this, the more you'll see what's healthy and what isn't, because you love yourself, right? You hold yourself to a high regard of respect and honor and protection of yourself, that anything that doesn't feel good to your spirit, doesn't feed you, or doesn't motivate you, doesn't encourage you, isn't positive, that most likely it's not for you. And especially if it constantly shows you the unhealthy stuff, that's another thing. Hey sis, hey Savvy, hey Latria. I didn't see you guys. Hey goddess. But yeah, the more and more you, sit with yourself and you say, I love myself more. And I've learned this too through, now I used to obsess over if people were like, people around me really have my best interest. I used to obsess if is this friend talking about me behind my back, or what if I do, if I cut this person off, what's gonna happen, blah blah blah, or if this person leaves. Now it's gotten to a place where I don't care about that stuff anymore, because my well-being, my happiness, my peace means more to me than that, than worrying about holding on to another person. If you're meant to be in my life, you're going to be meant to be in my life, point blank, period. Can we mess up relationships? Yeah, we can like withhold them, we can sabotage them. We definitely can. And that's where accountability comes in. But when it comes to the place of where your joy, where you feel like you are compromising yourself too much, or at all, you're compromising yourself, compromising your well-being, your heart, your mind, you're compromising your joy for somebody else. That is a clear sign that you're lowering yourself. You're putting your self-esteem lower than someone else for the sake of someone else's joy and happiness, or just keeping them in your life. You're working against yourself. You're harming yourself. It takes bravery. And the only reason why, like part of the reason why certain things that I've given up that I thought I wanted, or connections or people in my life, I've surrendered and said, you know what, if these people are truly meant to be in my life, if this truly is my friend, or if this person is someone that I'm supposed to be with, or whatever the case may be, it will happen. And I want to be in a place of surrender mode, so that if it is so, at least I'm in the right mind or right space to know where and how to act and move if necessary, rather than focusing and obsessing over it and holding on to it. My goodness. Another thing too, I just lost my train of thought. When you get tired, and some of the surrendering came from me being tired and saying, I can't do this anymore. I refuse to do this another year, or another day, or another minute. I refuse. I refuse to let anybody else treat me like this ever again, or for someone to whatever. You got to get to a place almost where you're tired. And when you surrender and you give it up, like when I was in California recently, I said to myself, because I was like holding on to an idea, I was holding on to expectations of things. And I said to myself, I'm not leaving California and going back home with this energy. And I feel like sometimes, like when we think that, okay, I said it, it's done. But even when I came back home, I was still processing, and I was still like, had questions. I still was wondering what's going on. And sometimes that needs to happen. Again, like, Spirit will show you how to let go, or Spirit will give you directions and how to handle certain things. Soon as you stay within and I think this is another thing too that we do sometimes, like as humans, when we say we're done with something, we get upset with ourselves when it's not fully closed out. But you got to understand that sometimes how we handle things is not the way the Spirit requires us to. Like with our healing process, we might say to ourselves, okay, I cut cords with inner child wounds. And then, okay, Spirit's like, all right, you're cutting cords. Well, let's deal with it. So you can cut it off. Let's deal with it. Let's peel this layer. Let's pull this onion back, right? And we get upset. We get frustrated sometimes because, like, dang, didn't I heal that, right? Because I said to myself, I'm done with it. I don't want to carry it anymore. I said I forgive this person, but Spirit might be testing, like, did you really forgive this person? They might do something else tomorrow that triggers you. And it might be a test to you, to your reflection, to see, did I really forgive this person? Or is there still work there? Or am I still processing and releasing the hurt? And that is okay. That's okay. I don't want to be on here too long because I'm like at a good 40 minutes, because usually sometimes I'll be going over an hour with these types of messages, and I don't want to do that. But to make this long story short, the moral of this message is this time, or this energy that we're in, it's a lot of processing and releasing. And it's a good thing because you're prepping yourself. It's kind of like winter season, okay, fall season is like you're preparing for your harvest, you're gathering your harvests. And it could also be like it's taking you into a period when you go into winter season, that hibernation where you sit with yourself. After you released all these things, you're in hermit mode, you're sitting with yourself, you're in a place of solitude, you're in a place of, hearing yourself and God clear, spirit clear. May still be purging. Spring, not literally, like I'm not speaking literally, but let's say spring, that represents where things start to blossom, where the new things start to spring forth. You don't want to be in a place where you're still holding on to the gunk and those past experiences that you should have released and let go of a long time ago. And I keep getting this message for people, like, be ready. That could mean anything to you guys. Your stories are all different and unique, but you're preparing for something to come, right? You want to be prepared. You don't want to be not ready when it comes. You know what I mean? You want to be in the position, whatever it is that you're being called to, whatever's in front of you that you're being called to focus on right now, being called to work on, being called to release, let go, call in, whatever. You'll be in the place to do that, because you guys don't have long before these things, like the very things that you're asking for. And I don't want you to get too specific with this, but whatever it is, the promises are, and I want to share this real quick because I almost skipped past this. It's like an important thing, like Spirit made me note this down. So you know how I was talking about the story of Abraham in the Bible, how he was instructed to put his son down as a sacrifice, his son Isaac, right, as a sacrifice. And just as he was about to do it, the angel said, stop. And this sounds like weird, but in a sense, like, think of it this way. Isaac representing the very thing that you want, your desires, your wishes, your dreams, maybe something specific. You laying that thing down that you want so badly, and your faith, you trust Spirit, you trust God so much that you would give that very thing up. And Spirit is like, wait, you just did something real big there. You were willing to let go of your own wants and needs, which could be sometimes selfish things. Like you're willing to let go and sacrifice those things. That is brave. Not only brave, it shows your humbleness, your reverence to Spirit, your trust in Spirit as well. You trust Spirit enough. You don't know what this is going to do, but you trust Spirit enough, right? And the angel reiterated, another dope point of this is the angel reiterated the promises that God made to Abraham early on, prior to this even happening, him making that sacrifice, before he even had children. God made him a promise to have an abundance of offspring and for them to be rulers, right? So there's a promise, and Spirit will reiterate that to you. Spirit, God, source, creator, once something is made promise and made known, they can't renege on that, because they're not man. They're not a human. So like humans, we can make promises to each other and we can go back and be like, oh, never mind, I ain't doing that because you did this. Or, oh, I forgot about it. Oh, whatever. Spirit can't do that to you. Spirit will not do that to you. God's not going to do that. So there's something that's promised to you, and you got to trust enough to say, okay, I know you said that one day I'm going to have this company, I'm going to help all these people, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. It doesn't look like it right now. I'm going to let that dream go of me being on TV, a newscaster, whatever. I'm going to put it down in the altar, and I trust that what's for me, you're still going to bring it to pass. I just surrender. I'm not going to stress over this. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to try to control it anymore. I give it to you. Same thing with love. Okay. I know you said that one day I was going to get married. I don't know if it's particularly this person. I'm going to just use the name Alex. I don't know why. I'm just going to use it. You said I was going to marry this particular person. And on top of that, Alex could be a male or female name. So, okay. We're going to use that name. We're going to go with Alex. You said that I will get married one day. I don't know if it's him or her, but I'm just going to let go of the stress and the worry if it's them. I'm just going to give it, and I'm going to trust that my marriage promise is going to come to pass one day. And whoever it is, it's going to be the right person. So I don't want to stress over this anymore. That's what surrender looks like. And reminding yourself of the promises that have been made in your life, the things that you've been shown, revealed to you. And some people might want to hold on and say, well, God showed me that it's going to be this person, and this reader said that this is my person, my twin flame, and all that stuff. Like, let that go too. From a perspective of, if it's true, it's going to come to pass, but I don't want to hold on to it. I'm not going to stress over it. What good is it to hold on to that? And it's causing you a great deal of stress, depression, fear, worry, obsession, trying to control. You're trying to convince yourself. You're trying to convince the person. You're trying to convince this person and that person. Like, let it go. Surrender it. What is it going to hurt to surrender it? It's not going to be a thing of, if you let it go and you say, I'm not going to worry about it anymore, then that means poof, it's gone. It's never going to happen. If it's meant to happen, it's going to. Your surrender is showing your trust and your faith. You're allowing. If you want me to use it in law of attraction terms, same thing. The law of attraction is, it says to, I can't remember the steps. It was like, one of them is, you hold the vision in your mind. You know what you want. You're focusing on the specifics, or you're focusing on what you want in detail, but you're allowing the universe to make it happen, or put it in place, or put you in the position where you need to be, and the key players of that manifestation to happen. You're not focusing on it and obsessing over it and trying to control it. It's not how things work. It's not how it works. And some of that stuff is like, some of it, like, I've used some of these techniques and stuff like that, and I truly do believe in the power of the mind. But sometimes even the human mind itself, we can still manifest things that are not truly in alignment. I remember watching this guy, and I think I shared this like probably a long time ago, but it was this guy that was on YouTube, like early, like back in the day YouTube, like when Esther Hicks and the law of attraction stuff was really popular, like when it first became really popular. And he was saying that he wanted to manifest this model, like he wanted to meet this model so bad, like, and he finally met her, and he said she was all like drunk and sloppy and just classless, and he was instantly turned off. So the thing is, we can manifest what we want. The thing is it what's of your highest good though? That's the difference. So the strain, and I've manifested so many things that I wanted at the time. And when it actually happened, sometimes it might have been like, dang, I really manifested this. And then sometimes it's like, no, it wasn't really what I wanted or what I really thought it to be. So you can do it. It's just better, and to alleviate the disappointment and the want of stuff, manifest from a place of divine alignment. What's divinely good for you and ordained for you, like what's best, what's in your highest interest, your highest self's alignment. Like, what is that? Because you can manifest lower vibrational things. You can manifest from your lower chakras. You can manifest from your ego versus your heart and your soul, your higher self. So there's a difference between that. There's a difference. Just like you can relate to a person from your lower chakras versus relating to someone in your higher chakras. There's a different vibration in that. It's different energy. Or you can be attracted to a person solely from your lower chakras versus being attracted to someone in your higher chakras, right? Your heart, your throat, which is your truth, your expression, your soul, your spirit, your crown, and above, your third eye, that's spiritual connectedness, right? So just as you can do that, same thing with law of attraction, or what we call law of attraction to be. Power of your mind, the power of your imagination, your visions, the power of your will, right? Same thing. But yeah, long story short, lay the very things that you're holding on to, and not just your heart's desires, but your pain too. Surrender your pain. Surrender your fears. Let them, like, lay them out. Spirit, take these things. Take them. You handle them. And it might not go away immediately, so don't start beating yourself up going, oh, well, I still have issues with this and I'm still worried about this, or, oh, I still want this. And allow spirit to work through you. Allow yourself time to heal. Allow yourself time to grieve. Allow yourself time to get to that space of peace and clarity. And you might feel an immediate peace because you just lifted a weight off of you. If you need to do some cord cutting, some soul tie cutting, do that as well. However spirit guides you and instructs you to do it. Some people write it on paper. Some people state things out of their mouth, affirm things out of their mouth, or decree things out of their mouth. However you feel led to do it, or visually do it. However you're divinely guided to. However you're divinely guided to. But you cannot. If you want to reach this next place in your life, sometimes like we delay our process because we got attachments that we got to cut. If spirit is revealing to you that something or someone has to go, it's going to hurt. But trust and believe that it's for your highest good. No matter how bad you want it. Sometimes the person, I'll use this because I know love is a thing. And I feel like that's the majority of what this message is like, what spirit is talking about. Let's say, for instance, that person that you have this attachment to and you want it to be them so badly. Let's say that by you not cutting those cords, it's keeping you and this person from the growth that maybe you guys could have because you're attached. You keep bouncing back. You keep doing the same thing. Rather than cutting the ties and freeing yourself, it may even free this person of themselves so that they do the healing work. But you can't if you're tied. Like, let's say, for instance, a cord. You guys keep doing this. It's like bungee, bounce, bounce, rather than cutting it loose. And people fear this because they have it in their mind that if I cut this person off, or if I let them go, or if I set boundaries with them, if I walk away and choose myself, that means that if this was the person, they're never going to come back now. Nah, it can't be. It's not how it works. If it's meant, they're going to come back into your life. Better if it's meant. But if it's not meant, you're going to move on with your life. And maybe they might be a better person than where you guys were together. But if they're not your person, they're not it. The good news about that is they're not my person. So I know that my person is still out there. That's the good thing. I bet you every person in here that has ever loved someone or been in love with somebody that they wanted to be with in the past, when they look back now, that person is not the person that they want. That's very rare unless it's like, again, like you guys are meant to come back together. That's different. But sometimes like when you cut those cords and you move on, or you mature as an adult, or you mature in yourself, the things that you were once attracted to is not appealing anymore to you. Because of where you were at that time, you might have been immature mentally and emotionally. You might have been trauma bonding with someone, and because you healed that trauma, you no longer relate to that person. There's nothing there anymore. You don't resonate with them. You don't resonate. You might not even be physically attracted to them anymore. It's just kind of like, all right. It's not what I thought. That's happened a lot of times, like plenty of times. Like I'll be looking back at the boys like in school or like whatever, or dudes I used to talk to, and I'd be like, oh, I used to cry over that. Like what? Like, girl, what was you crying over? Like, what is wrong with you? But there's beauty in reconciliation, of course, like whether it's with family, whether it's friends, whether it's lovers, when you guys come back and you're healed and you're different because you allowed that time. And sometimes time separates people. And in that time, or divine separation, those times, like you're able to live your life. You're able to do the things that you need to do without the distractions of those things. Or, you know, you're able to be removed out of that space so that spirit can work with you individually. So you're not distracted and not pulled and tied to things or people. Not what possessed you. Literally, like what was possessing me to be like into that or wanting this person. I'll be looking back like, ew. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes it's just like the rose-colored glasses come off and you see things for what they are. You just allow people to just be, you know what I mean? Like, without you inserting your hand in things, that's really the best thing to do. Is like, you can love people. Not every person that you didn't end up with has to be your enemy, or, you know what I mean, a op. Sometimes it's just we weren't meant to be. And if it was truly real, if you really truly cared about the person and you truly loved them, even in spite of what happened, there should be no real animosity. And sometimes, yeah, we got to heal, because I still have some beef with people. I would say one particular person, because I spend a lot of time with them. We live together. We, you know, try to play house. Like, so there's still going to be those things there where it's like, you look back and you might blame yourself, or you might get upset, or be like, oh, I wish I would have did this different, or why did this have to happen, and blah, 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 blah. But an adult self says, a healthy self says, it didn't work out with this person. They might have been an asshole, whatever, but I don't want to harp on that. I don't want to hold on to that, because I want to be a free agent to live my life peaceful, without people living rent free in my mind and in my heart and in my spirit, so that I can live life and do what I need to do, and also be in an open space to attract the partner or love that is meant for me. The person that holds the capacity to steward my heart, and vice versa, versus trying to make someone be the steward of my heart when they don't even have the tools, nor the instructions, nor even desire to even figure that out. You know what I mean? It's a different ball game. So yeah, I hope that resonates with y'all. I wasn't even gonna pull, I guess, so we ain't gotta pull no cards. It is what it is. I'm almost at an hour over. So if you guys like this message, this reading, I guess, I don't know if you want to call it, I guess it's like spirit reading, spirit, you know, going in on us. If you like this message, this video, please feel free to like it, of course, and share it with someone that you feel like it may benefit, help, motivate, uplift, bless, and encourage. And yeah, I'll probably do another video soon, because I still want to talk about religion trauma, religious trauma, and church trauma. I still want to talk about that. Like, I really feel like that needs to be done, because I feel like it's like 3 categories of people when it comes to religion: those that have grew up in it and like probably were like heavy adamant churchgoers, versus people that kind of like know a little bit about it, may go to church periodically or did go to church periodically, versus those that like don't deal with it at all. But I do want to talk about religious trauma in those 3 categories. I feel like it needs to be done. I really do. And I will definitely share my testimony, my experiences with that. Yeah, I feel like it needs to be said. It might help somebody, might free some people, who knows? I don't know. But yeah, it's so much, so many topics. But this one was on my heart. I had to lay it out. I sat on it for a few days, and I guess that was by design, until I got the clarity that was needed to come on here and even share it. But even if not, like, spirit will still give me messages even as I'm on the live. Like, that's why these lives be so long. I be thinking I'm gonna come on real quick and just like deliver something. It never works that way. It never does. But I am grateful for you guys for joining. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. You guys have a blessed rest of your day. Be safe. Much love as always. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.